Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and are done wrong. Here we go.
I'm Assistant Chief Wyatt Martin of the Houston Police Department. This critical incident briefing is intended to provide you with information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred on February 15, 2023. You're about to see video footage that is related to this incident. HPD conducts thorough investigations into officer-involved shootings. These typically require investigators to interview multiple witnesses, view numerous hours of video footage, and analyze a significant amount of forensic evidence. It is important to note that we are in the very early stages of the investigation, and we continue to review additional evidence as it is collected and analyzed. The videos you're about to see can be graphic and may be difficult to watch. These videos may also contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. At approximately 10 p.m. on February 14th, Houston police officers were alerted to an unoccupied white Ford Taurus containing an assault rifle, pistol, and narcotics at a gas station in the 4000 block of Senate. Officers set up surveillance on the vehicle. At approximately 1 a.m. on February 15th, Tyquorious Walker got into the Taurus and drove away. Officers attempted to conduct a traffic stop, but Mr. Walker refused to stop and a pursuit ensued. After more than 20 minutes, officers executed a pursuit intervention technique to stop the vehicle. Mr. Walker began firing on the officers, striking the windshield of their HPD vehicle. Officers returned fire. Mr. Walker was pronounced deceased at the scene. No officers were injured.
Tyquorious. So, what do we know about this guy? During the U-turn, 2404, we conducted surveillance on the vehicle for a while after we were notified. He had a rifle and pistol inside of it. We don't have him identified. Yeah, that's it. Stop guard. 136 on fire. What's your location?
Fuck out of the goddamn car.
I think so, yeah. How's the partner? Is the partner good? Yeah. Okay. I don't have a partner, I have a partner. Alright! All of y'all, you gotta move on.
Alright, let's back this up. Alright, first of all, so they get a call about an unoccupied vehicle that has a rifle, narcotics in it, and they set up surveillance and they watch a person get into it, take off, and then they decide to go do a traffic stop. I don't think that was the brightest idea. I can understand them wanting to see, who's getting into the car, get that person to be technically in possession of those weapons so that they could articulate, oh yeah, this convicted felon was in possession of firearms, and have a good arrest on that. But I don't think that juice was worth the squeeze. I think just taking the guns out of the car would have been a better option. If they were wanting to set up a sting, which I have no idea the time frame involved in this. Like, I don't know how long they sat around watching this car, how far away they were from it, if they got up close to it and could see what was in it. I would imagine there was some kind of time frame involved there where they had some extra time. So if they were going to go with the mindset of, hey, let's leave the guns there and the drugs, and whoever comes to this car and gets in and takes off or tries to take off, we know that's our guy, and we can get, we can articulate very well that they're in possession of it, it's theirs, there's no arguing it. If they were, wanting to go with that mindset, then I think that, and they had the time to do it, I think that they should have made those guns inoperable. Take the AR, take the bolt out of the damn thing. Take the takedown, pop that takedown pin out, separate the upper receiver from the lower, and just pull the entire bolt out. You could leave the magazine in the damn gun. It's not going to have a bolt in it. It's not going to shoot. They could have took the bolt out. If it was a handgun, depending on, what kind of handgun it was, if they knew how to very quickly field strip it and take the barrel out, they could have took the barrel out and just left the handgun there. And there's no way it would have shot. Right? Those could have been options to, leave those things there. That way it wouldn't spook the person and then ruin their plans on getting a good arrest out of this. Leaving the damn guns in there, fully functional, fully loaded, I think was not a good call. I think that put people at unnecessary risk. Because you have to suspect that whoever comes back to this car to get it and take off, they got the guns and they got the drugs. There's a good possibility they'll want to fight their way out of it. And this guy ends up doing it. He ends up trying to fight his way out of it.
We conducted surveillance on the vehicle during the U-turn. 2404, we conducted surveillance on the...
So, this long-winded conversation being had on the main channel that traffic needs to be held on, completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Way too much blabbering going on. The fight happens. No one's able to communicate, hey, we're in the shit, because this dude's reading a fucking book over the radio. That's why talk around channels exist on department radios. You got your primary channel, you got a backup channel, you should have a talk around channel, so that motherfuckers that want to read a book can go to that talk around channel and read a fucking book. This primary channel that they're on, because they're in that pursuit, obviously traffic is being held on that channel. Ain't no other bullshit going on. Fucking dispatch ain't dispatching people out to theft in progress calls. They're not fucking dispatching anyone to a missing juvenile call on that channel that they're on right now. That traffic is most likely being held on that channel for this pursuit. When channel's being held, traffic needs to be bare minimum. Does not need to be a book. There's an officer in front of him. It looks like he initiates a pit, probably. They said an intervention technique. I mean, what else is it going to be? That or he just fucking rammed the shit out of him as the guy was trying to turn. I don't know. Fight happens, and this officer has to fight from within the vehicle.
Vehicle for a while after they're notified. You got a rifle and pistol inside of it. We don't have a rifle card. Yeah, that's a bit. Dog guard. 136 on fire. What's your location?
And it looks like he took incoming rounds.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah, fucking incoming rounds.
Yeah, that's a bit.
You don't want to be inside a car that long. He had to fight in the moment right there where he was. But I think he lingered in this car for too damn long. Cars are bullet magnets. You do not want to be in them or around them if you can control it. Sometimes the only form of cover is that vehicle, but you need to understand that it's not that great a cover because bullets go through vehicles very easily. A .22 long rifle can go straight through a car door, no problem. 9 mils going through both car doors. Bullets go through cars very easily. The engine block stops bullets, right? That's a big ass chunk of metal. Axles and transfer cases, transmission case, those stop bullets. It's big, thick ass chunks of hard metal. The aluminum siding, the little sheet metal of the car door, that thin material, that's not stopping bullets. The plastic trim right here, the interior of the door, that's not stopping bullets. A .22 long rifle will go straight through this door, no problem whatsoever. And depending on where it hits on that door and then goes through the car and hits the other side of the door and what it hits there's potential for it to go through both fucking doors so long as it doesn't hit too much material that's in between. 9 mil, I've done it myself, I've seen it. 9 mil, it'll go straight through both doors. Rifle, straight through both doors. The trunk area of the car, one side of the car, out the other, no problem. So you can get out of that car as fast as you can, get the hell out of it because it's not where you want to be. Now he does a magazine change. I like that he's doing a magazine change. He's fired some rounds. He has not fired the slide lock yet. He's fired some rounds. He decides he needs to go ahead and do a magazine change. Put a fresh mag in the gun. Start from there. All these vehicles have come to a stop, but yet you still hear sirens. I've talked about this before, some in other videos. Siren control boxes, they have extra features on them where you can wire it up to the vehicle so that when you throw that vehicle in park, it shuts the siren off. That way, in incidents like this where you're running code and you have to come to an abrupt stop and get out, you ain't got to worry about trying to look down and hit the siren button to turn it off or rock the rocker switch one back down to make the siren stop. You just stop the car, throw that bitch in park, and boom, it shuts the siren completely off. Those features exist on all sirens, to my knowledge. Like your major manufacturers, Wayland and Federal Signal, Phoenix, which I wouldn't imagine a large agency like Houston using a company like Phoenix, but probably Federal Signal or Wayland is what they're using. Those products they make have those features in the siren box. All it takes is someone to wire it into the vehicle. Some places will do this. Other places, for whatever reason, they don't wire it in. I don't know why. It's a possibility that if they do the installs themselves, the people who are doing the installs don't know how to do it. They just do the basic wiring setup to get the stuff out the door and put in the use. It could be that because they have to splice into another wire that's on existing wiring of the vehicle, that They may have some concerns about doing that. If the person's not certified in some way to be doing that, they could say, hey, that voids the warranty on the vehicle if you cut into this line coming out of the steering column just to attach this wire to it. That could be a reasoning. Whatever's going on, I don't know, but it's a simple enough thing to do that all you gotta do is watch a YouTube video on it and figure out how to do it, right? Now, that is if you have a take-home car. If it's a pool car where, you know, multiple people use it, yeah, you might not be able to get away with making that kind of modification because someone could find out, and then, you know, if there was an unauthorized maintenance thing or unauthorized thing being done to the vehicle, you know, you get in trouble for it. If you got a take-home car, what's the odds of someone else like inspecting your vehicle and figuring stuff out? Not very likely. You could do this yourself. If you are in an area where there's volunteer firefighters, I guarantee you're going to find a volunteer firefighter out there somewhere who has their car decked out and all kinds of shit. They're practically driving around in a fucking light bulb with wheels. That person's going to know how to do it. I can guarantee you that. If you find a volunteer firefighter that has lights all over their car, they know how to wire shit up. They know how that stuff works. Go find them. Pay them. They'll do it for you. Alright. Let's watch this, guys.
Let's see if he stays on 90 or if he's gonna. Looks like he is committed.
Looks like he's committed to 59 south.
Just the feeder. I mean, he's gonna decide north to south. U-turn. He's doing a U-turn.
Dude, Sergeant, what do we know about this guy?
Doing the U-turn.
Alright, so so far, we'll back this up. Pay attention to the interior light bar here.
Yeah.
Doing the U-turn.
That is a lot of light to be hitting down here and reflecting off. That's one thing I don't like about interior light bars is the flashback that you can get. There are interior light bars that are kind of a universal kind of fit. They'll fit in many different vehicles, and that can leave a gap and cause more flashback. There are some other interior light bars that can butt up really close to the windshield and minimize some of that flashback, but you still get just a little bit. But overall, that flashback at night is one of the negative things about interior light bars like that. I wish that there was a better way to be able to do the lighting where you don't have to have that full-on light bar on top. But we just haven't got that far with lighting technology. I do think it's more feasible to have a smaller lighting system that could be attached to the very topmost part of the windshield, but be on the outside. Now, of course, that would require drilling in some way into the vehicle. But I think it could be done to where the lighting could be on the outside, and that would reduce a lot of flashback. I've also seen lighting options that go on the hood of the vehicle. So you can have essentially a light bar across the hood of the vehicle that's very minimal, or smaller lights that could be mounted on the hood itself, and those are very minimal, don't take up a whole lot of space, very small LED footprint. I think that's a better way to go as far as reducing flashback and everything. But when you start having those exterior mounted things, that can make the vehicle more visible. So if you're going for interior lights to make the vehicle look less like a cop car, then obviously having exterior mounted stuff isn't going to work. Now, if you've got a patrol car, it's a classic cop car, like it's a fucking Dodge Charger, Durango, Crown Vic, whatever, and you're trying to put concealed lights in it to make it not look like a cop car, it's not working. It's not working at all. People look at those cars and they instantly think cop car. So trying to be all stealthy with those, I think, is kind of stupid. And I think that exterior options would be better for them. Anyway, I could do a whole video on lights, but I'll just leave it at that and move on. He does have a passenger here with him, and a passenger, for sure, is going to be able to have a rifle out and ready to put it into play once you come to a stop. So this call had some time frame where they set up surveillance on this car to see who got into it. So while they're waiting for this to happen, the cars that have 2 people in it, the passenger can go ahead and get the rifle out and ready. That way, when they come to a stop, boom, put rifle into play. For the officers who were by themselves, they could still get their rifle out and have it slung around their neck and in between their legs while they're driving. And then when they come to a stop, boom, be able to dismount and have a rifle in hand ready to put into play. Or they could have stuck it in between the seat and the console. And when they stopped, grab it, put it out, get it into play. This kind of call is obviously a very high-risk call. It's involving a car that has guns and drugs in it. They know that whoever's going to be getting into it is not out selling Girl Scout cookies or selling Bibles. There's a good possibility that they could turn it into a gunfight. If you know you're going to a gunfight, bring a rifle and bring your friends with rifles. Stop fucking muzzling him. God damn.
Hey, get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Hey, Rudy, get out! Everybody, turn your sirens off. Turn your sirens off.
All right, let's go look at that one again. So he fires the slide lock. Does a reload. I'll back this up some more. So I'm pretty confident that there was a cruiser in front of this one where the officer gets out of, whose camera we watched just before this. So I'm guessing that whoever was in front of him hit this guy and then kept driving on. Or they're directly on the other side and it's just perfect angles. We just can't see the other car, or at least I can't notice it. But he fires the slide lock, does a reload, re-engages. And then, muzzles the fuck out of this dude. Yeah, not a big fan of that. You need to always be aware of your muzzle, even when you're doing a reload. So he's got... Shit, I went too far back. Yeah, not... Ugh, that irks me. So he's doing a reload because he's fired the slide lock again. What would be better is if he had this gun muzzle completely up, completely vertical. That way he would be in a safer direction. It'd still be in his workspace, still be able to visualize the gun in front of him, but the muzzle be pointing straight up. This is not a good reload because he is muzzling this guy. Sometimes you can get by breaking one of the cardinal rules. So he's breaking one rule right now. He's pointing his gun at something that he does not want to destroy. Like, he does not want to destroy his fellow officer, but yeah, he's pointing the gun at him. Is his finger on the trigger? I don't think it is. It could be, but I don't think it is. So he's breaking one rule. A lot of times you can get by with that. But when you start breaking two rules, let's say he does have his finger on the trigger and he rams that rams that mag in, slide drops. He could inadvertently squeeze that trigger when he did not want to, and because his gun is pointing at this guy, send a round into him. And this is the only place where the vest is covering. Back that up, see if I can get a better freeze frame. Not going to get a better freeze frame, but this is the only part where his vest covers. If he sent a round right here into his armpit area, a little bit back in here, he could put a round straight in this dude's heart and kill him. Unnecessary risk. Always be aware of your muzzle. Don't ever point it at good guys and things that you do not want to destroy. Like I said, a lot of times you can get by when one rule is broken, but when more than one rule is broken, that's usually when bad things really happen. So when you see off to the side here, someone has a long gun. Couldn't tell what he's got. Looks like maybe a rifle. Yeah, it's a rifle. So that rifle is the best thing in this gunfight right now. That dude could be laying down some great suppressing fire. All he's got to do is put those rifle sights on that windshield area and just start dumping rounds in that damn thing. Start dumping rounds if he can. What would be even better for him is if he went on the other side of this pillar, line those rifle sights up at this open window in this door frame, and just start fucking letting loose. Those rifle rounds are going to punch straight through that damn car door and inside to that person. The best weapon in this fight that I can see right now is that rifle. And it could really, really do some good if used properly.
Hey, get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Hey, Rudy, get out!
So you see how he kind of goes to the back of his vehicle and then pauses and is like, assesses and like, oh, this is not the greatest place to be. Need to move on. Him being so close to the threat like that, the best thing that he could have done is once he got out of that car and went to dismount, just sprint. Do the Nike drill. Run as fast as he fucking can to the furthest point back here to get off that X. Him slowing it down and going along the side, stopping here, and then trying to move around, go right here, real slow. Like he's too close to the X. You want to get it off that X as quickly as possible. And the best thing that he could have done was just fucking do the Nike drill. Run as fast as he can, tactically retreat back to a point where he can take good cover, and then continue to fight from there. Because these car doors, they're not stopping shit. Not stopping a damn thing.
Everybody, turn your sirens off. Turn your sirens off.
Looks like he's committed to 59 South.
Just the feeder. I mean, he's going to decide north to south. U-turn. He's doing a U-turn.
Yeah, so what do we know about this guy?
All right, doing the U-turn. Good pit.
Rudy, get out! Rudy, get out! Come down with us, Rudy, running! Come on, come on, come on! Hold what you got, hold what you got.
Alright, back this up.
Good pit.
He gets hung up by the fucking seatbelt. A seatbelt can trap you. So when you are going to take the seatbelt off, it needs to be an over exaggerated movement, I think. Reach down, release, and then take that thing and move it forward of you. Like, reach down, grab that buckle piece, and just straighten your arm out. Bring the strap as far away from your body as possible, and to the car door, and then either release from there or push down and make sure that it clears your body and your accessories completely. That should help to decrease the likelihood of you getting hung up on your seatbelt. If you just reach down and click the button and let it retract on its own, then you run the risk of it catching on something on your belt. So like for me, when I'm in the driver's seat, the way I have my taser on cross draw, if I just reach down and hit the button and release the seatbelt and it retracts on its own, the taser handle is going to catch it. And I will be snaggled into the seatbelt if I try to get out. So I'll reach down, hit that release, and I'll grab the buckle piece of the seatbelt, and I'll, like I said, like imagine, like mimic it with me. Like you're sitting down, you've got your hand, your left hand, reach down, hit that, or you can reach down and hit it with your right, but grab it with your left, whatever. Take that buckle, you still got your arm across your chest and belly, and just extend your arm out like you was grabbing the steering wheel, and then to the door, and then just release from there. And that should clear everything on your belt. Extended seatbelt buckle devices, I think, are pretty good. I have those in my work car and my personal vehicle. This is just the clicky part that you hit the release on. It's an extender that you click into that, and it's another clicky thing. So it's like taking the clicky part of a seatbelt and just extending it to make it longer. And it's a rigid thing, so it points up and sticks up fairly easy. And that allows me to be able to have the belt across me, and it clicks into place, and I'm not having to dig down in between me and the console and trying to get that thing unbuckled. It actually sits the extended buckle piece. It sits it pretty much right level with, and maybe like half an inch to an inch, a little bit higher than the middle console. So it's like right there, perfectly easy to reach down and hit. So I can hit it with either my right hand, or I can reach over and hit it with my left hand, and I ain't got to like dig down in between the seat and the console trying to get to that damn buckle. You can look up these things on Amazon. That's where I got mine from. They're just seatbelt extenders. They're pretty nifty to have. I like them. Like I said, I got them in my work car and my personal vehicles. Love them. It's the best thing, best kind of accessory I think that you could get. And that will help, like I said, being able to get that seatbelt away from you. Because if you can reach down with your left hand, if you're in the driver's seat, reach down with your left hand, click that button, and then maneuver your arm into the seatbelt buckle itself and swat it all the way away from you into the door and release, then boom, less likely you're going to get caught on the damn thing. So I have no idea if he has any realization that a good guy is in this vehicle and is stuck in this vehicle. He may not think that person's in there. He may think that person's out, because for this short period of time, he had to dick around with a seatbelt, and he may have had his eyes down and may not have noticed the fact that no one exited that vehicle. So he could be thinking that he exited just like, him and his partner did, and there's no one in this vehicle. And that's why he's backing away from it. Otherwise, if he knew that officer was in there, he knew that officer was shooting from within the car, and he decides to back away from it, I think that's kind of bullshit. But I don't know. I don't know what's in this guy's mind. I don't know what he knows in that moment or anything like that, so I can't say anything about that. There's a fork on the road on that one. Either he didn't know the guy was in there, or he did know he was in there. And if he did know he was in there, then he's wrong for backing away and not backing this dude up and providing fire to suppress that threat. This point right here, he could have taken a position and started firing from here if he wanted to. So at some point he knows that Rudy is in the car. Is it when he gets to this angle that he can actually see through the windshield and see him moving around like, oh shit, Rudy's still in the car? Or did he know all along? Again, I don't know.
Come on, Rudy, ready! Come on, come on, come on! Hold what you got, hold what you got.
Vehicle for a while.
Hey, behind! Shots fired! Come here! Come here! Hey! Get back! Hey, get back! You good? How's the partner? Is the partner good? Okay. Hey, there's tons of people on the left. There's one guy in the car, I think. Yeah, I know. Get back! You good?
So he's got a rifle. Good weapon to bring into this fight.
Good!
Here comes Rudy. You can see Rudy kind of rubbing in his ear.
Hey, get back!
I can only imagine the fucking the ringing of the ears that he is experiencing right now. If you've never shot a gun inside an enclosed space, you don't know how loud it is. If you've only shot guns outdoors, then I don't know how else to explain it to you. If you ever shot guns in an indoor shooting range and you've shot in an outside environment, you can tell the difference when you shoot in a shooting range versus you shoot outside. Like you feel it more, right? It does sound a lot louder. If you've ever shot a gun inside of a car with the windows up that have not been breached yet, yeah, you feel it. You know it is way louder. So Rudy here has probably got some ringing going on in the ears.
Get back! You good? How's the partner? Is the partner good? Okay. Hey, there's tons of people on the left. There's one guy in the car, I think. Yeah, I know.
What do we know about this guy? On the eastern 24 was conducted surveillance on the vehicle for a while after we notified that he had a rifle and pistol inside of it. We don't have him identified.
Yeah. All right. So this is a good one to talk about.
Don't have him identified.
So he's got the rifle in the cab of the vehicle with him. He comes to a complete stop and he gets the rifle out of its mount. but it takes a little bit of time to do that.
For a while after we notified that he had a rifle, we don't have him identified.
So about 5 seconds or so is about what it took for him to get that rifle out. Then you add about another second or so for him to charge the rifle. So about 6 seconds to get this rifle into the fight. Now, had they been driving and he had got this rifle out beforehand, slung it around his neck, had it charged, ready to go, then immediately upon dismounting that vehicle, he could have put that thing into play in about half the time of that. Now, he does get the rifle out, and he immediately puts it into play. He starts laying down rifle fire. And like I said, rifle fire versus pistol fire, rifle fire is what you want. Rifle is way more effective than pistol. So he starts off from here. Sending a whole lot of fuck you to this guy. And then now, once he gets over here into a better position to where he can start punching rounds through the side of that car and really increase his likelihood of hitting that dude, the rifle's done. It's empty. He has to sling it and get his pistol out into play. That sucks. So let's back this up a little bit more. There's a freeze frame where we can see the rifle. So you see he's got one magazine in the gun. Right? And that's it. So, when you have to rapidly deploy a rifle like that, and you only have one magazine in the gun, that's all you got, is that one magazine. Now, some people will carry a spare mag on their belt. I don't do that. I don't see the need in it, but some people will carry a spare rifle mag on the belt. And if they do that and they get the rifle out very quickly, that could work for them. They could do a reload from the belt. The likelihood of getting into a gunfight in and of itself is pretty low. Getting into the rifle fight and everything is like just the gunfight itself is pretty low. Getting to the rifle and getting the rifle out and putting it into play, I think, is probably a little bit lower than the fight itself, just being with the gun. So there's cops right now who have retired, and for maybe, at least last 5 years, they could have been carrying a rifle mag on them. Maybe some were doing it well before, the 5-year mark. They could have been doing it 10 years ago. And they've carried that rifle mag all that time, and it never got used. It was just extra weight, extra space taken up on the belt. The option that I like, and I prefer and recommend, is having the extra mag on the rifle itself. So it's great if you can have the time to grab your go bag or grab your plate carrier that has additional magazines in it and be able to throw that on and be able to, boom, continue the fight after that first mag's depleted. But sometimes you don't have that time. Sometimes it's just like this, where you only have enough time to grab that rifle and put it in the fight. And if that's the only time you've got, then how are you going to grab extra mags? You're not. So, for the people who carry a mag on them, that's their answer right there. I got the mag on me at all times. If I get a rifle, boom, I put this, if I have to reload, boom, I got it on me. Yeah, that works. However, as I said, I think the better way is to carry that extra mag on the rifle itself. So Magpul makes a magazine coupler where you can have two magazines stuck together. that, I think, is a pretty efficient way to have an extra mag for that rifle and to be able to do a pretty quick reload. On top of that, a buttstock pouch. It's just a magazine pouch that attaches to the buttstock of the rifle. That, I think, is a decent idea to have an additional magazine on that rifle. So you can get that rifle, you fire to bolt lock, you can take the magazine coupler or the contraption and just drop it down, move it over, slap it back up, put that gun back in the fight, or you can drop magazine, rip that extra mag out of that buttstock pouch, and then boom, into the gun, put it back in the fight. Or you can do both of those, have the mag coupler and a magazine pouch on the stock of the rifle. Those, I think, are pretty good options. You could also go with a larger magazine, get something that's more than 30 rounds, go with the Surefire magazine that holds like 60 rounds, or you can go with that P-Mag that holds 60 rounds. That could give you a lot more rounds to stay in that fight a lot longer. If he had an extra mag on this rifle, he could have performed a reload, and then once he's on this side of the pillar, immediately start punching grounds through that passenger side door of that vehicle and touch that dude with rifle hits. But his rifle died out early on in the fight, and he had to transition to pistol. I will want to point out that I love that he retained the rifle. He utilized the sling instead of just dropping the rifle down to the ground. It tells me that he has most likely done some decent rifle training where he's had to utilize the sling in class, and that has become second nature to him. He just, boom, put it on. All right, so he had a unfortunate situation there. What's he got going on here? Can't see it very well. You see, looks like a round is sticking upward some. I cannot get the freeze frame right. I'll tell you what, let's take it to slow speed. So yeah, that looks like a live round pointing upwards. So possibly what has happened is he doesn't have a great magazine, and as the slide went back, a round slipped out of the magazine and was pointed in a funny way, and slide goes forward, and it just creates a stovepipe type of malfunction here. Or it could have been that more than one round came loose from the magazine itself, and then the slide went forward, because he does clear the magazine and racks that slide. Oh, I think I know what happened there. So let me hit replay on that. So slides all the way forward. All right, so I think what has happened here is, you notice he had his hand cupped over the gun itself, covering the ejection port. He racks the slide. The gun probably functions the way it should, goes to eject that out, but because his hand is covering the ejection port, it just bounces back off his hand and back into the chamber here. So we'll replay that so you can see that again. Now what happened the first time, I don't know what caused the malfunction. I don't see anything sticking out the top there. The slide is all the way forward. Did I say O-light? I think it is a fucking O-light. Whoa. Alright, so I don't know what caused the first malfunction. He could have got a stovepipe from that. I don't know. But he drops the magazine from the gun. The slide is all the way forward after he first racked it. And then when he drops the magazine and goes to rack the slide, we see a live round pointing up out of the gun. So I think that second issue was caused by him. So when you do a racking of the slide, you don't want your hand over the ejection port because of that right there. You can cause the round to go back or stay within the gun. Worst case scenario is it falls back into the port in an orientation like it would be if it was being loaded into the breech, the barrel, and the ejection port closes in as the slide's going forward. The round is wedged in the port, and the ejection claw slams forward and hits the back of the primer and makes the round go off, and then it blows up in the open ejection port in your hand. That's worst case scenario, and that is a risk that some people have came across. But the best way is bring your hand to the back of the gun and rack that away. That way you keep that ejection port open. When you have an optic on the gun, go over the top of the optic and rip it backwards. That thing is screwed down into the slide. It's not going anywhere. If you wanted to, you could take this sight and ram it into a hard object and rack off that object, like rack off your shoe or rack off the belt, rack off the holster, whatever, if you needed to, with that red dot sight. So hand to the rear of the ejection port. That way when you go to work the slide, stuff can actually come out of the gun. So that first problem that he had, don't know for sure what caused it, but we can see that as he's shooting, the magazine is extended out. So we know that the first mag in the gun is an extended magazine of some sort, or it is one of those magazine base plates that's like a +2 or +3 base plate. Can't tell very well what it is. I think it might be one of the base plates, maybe. It's hard to tell because it's so fuzzy looking, but I'm not the biggest fan of those base plates. Just like anything in the gun world, you got some stuff that's good quality, some stuff that's not. We can already see that this guy's running an O-Light on his gun, and he's running a Holosun on his gun. So if he's made two cheap purchases in those regards, he's probably made a very cheap purchase for a magazine base plate extender. And the issue with the first malfunction could have been magazine related. So this you can't skimp when it comes to gun stuff. Like you gotta get quality gear. And so when it comes to these base plate things, personally, in my opinion, if you want a few extra rounds in that first mag, just buy especially if you're using Glock, just buy the PMag 21 round magazine. Right? If you got a Glock 17, or hell, even if you don't have a Glock 17, you got a Glock 19, whatever. Go with the Glock. I'm sorry, not the Glock. The PMag magazine for Glocks. That's 21 round. I think that's I forget the name for it, but it holds 21 rounds. So you take your standard Glock magazine, 17 round, and you take the PMag, that's 21 round. All right. 4 rounds there, right? If you get one of these base plates that's just, 3 or 4 rounds, you're getting the same damn thing. But when you start tinkering with original manufacturer stuff, that's where problems can start, is when you start tinkering with shit and start taking things apart and putting new things on it. Just buy a factory magazine from Magpul. Get the extended magazine. Yeah, does it look as sexy as one of those other base plates that's like, it's wide and it looks like it mates up well to the mag well of the gun? It's looks nice. Yeah, no, the Magpul 21 round for the Glock, it doesn't look that cool, right? It just looks like your fucking magazine isn't fully inserted into the gun. That's the only negative thing I can think of. And I've actually had someone comment to me before, it's like, hey, your magazine's falling out of your gun. It's like, no, it's not. I just got the PMag 21 rounder in it. So that's the only negative thing to say about it. Alright. So let's go back to normal speed. Back up and play. Alright, so he threw the new mag in and the slide automatically dropped. So that happens with polymer frame pistols. Sometimes you slap that new mag in hard enough, you flex it, and it makes the slide drop. I think it's probably safe to say that 99% of the time it will strip a round out of the magazine and load it properly. But when that happens, my response is to automatically rack that slide. And if I see brass come out, oh well, I've lost one round. One big deal, right? But at least I know for sure that gun is loaded. He also starts to take off, but retrieves the magazine that he dropped to the ground. No problem with that. I have no problem with retaining partially depleted mags. Now, when it does come to reloads, which he had an emergency reload to do. He had some type of malfunction going on with the gun, and so that magazine needed to be dropped to the ground. He did not need to do a tactical reload at that moment because it could have been detrimental for him. So he dropped it to the ground and then retrieved it and went on. Other circumstances, if he fired some rounds and then there was a lull in the fight and he decided to do a magazine change on his terms, a tactical reload would be you reach down to the belt, pull your fresh mag out, bring it up to the gun, hit eject on the gun, catch that mag coming out in your hand that's holding the fresh mag, pull it out, insert fresh mag, and then put partially depleted mag either back in the pouch or into your pocket, and then move on. And that's one way to retain a magazine. Personally, I think all magazines, when you're doing a mag change, need to drop to the ground. And then when you want to retain them, just pick them up off the ground and then go from there. The idea behind that tactical reload, when you bring the fresh mag up to the gun, hit eject to catch that partially depleted mag, is to retain that magazine in case you need it later on in the gunfight. I cannot think of any incidents that have occurred where someone has conducted a tactical reload, retained their first magazine from the gunfight, and then went on to deplete all other magazines on them and went back and grabbed that partially depleted mag out of their pocket or out of the pouch and put it in the gun and put it back in the fight and won that gunfight from that retained magazine from the beginning of the gunfight. I don't know of any incidents like that. And I'm pretty damn confident that if there was an incident like that, it would be popular as fuck, because everyone who supports the tactical reload and preaches the tactical reload would not shut up about it. They would fucking talk your head off about that incident. They're like, well, such and such, blah, 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 blah. That's why you should do this, blah, 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 blah. So, in the history of gunfighting, to my knowledge, that's never happened. So, I don't see the need in doing a tactical reload. All magazines drop to the ground. Anyway, moving on.
Hey! Ow! Hold the air so fast.
Alright, so it looks like some amount of time has passed. So timestamp on this says 3:20. We'll back it up to the other dude. 1:37. Right after this gunfight happens. It's 1:37. And now we skip forward to 3:20. So almost an hour since this gunfight's occurred. So I'd imagine fights happened. You saw all the smoke and everything coming from the vehicles, the steam. They probably took their positions of cover, aimed at the car, maintained that cover, gave verbal commands. Nobody came out, and they said it's not safe for us to approach, call in SWAT. And now SWAT's arrived, and now they are going to go in and do the takedown.
What's that?
Went through all that fucking trouble. And the damn door was already unlocked. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Let's back this up. So they obviously have brought their big ass armored vehicle in, They've come up, they pinned the damn thing from the rear, and they've got a dude in a truck. I'm assuming that this regular looking pickup truck is up armored. Otherwise, this is a goofy ass setup right here, because if this dude was still a threat, he could definitely fire into the soft skinned vehicle and hit the people inside. So I'm hoping, like I said, that this is up armored in some way. If not, totally stupid. But they pinned him in with the Bearcat here. You can see the trunk is crumpled, so they've pinned the vehicle. So when I've talked before in the past about kissing bumpers, I mean, this is what they're doing. They are for sure taking out any space between bumpers, front and rear, that this guy could use to his advantage to get a purchase point and get out of this. When you close the distance like this, bumper to bumper, there's no way, unless their vehicle has more mass than the other vehicles, there's really no way for them to start pushing other vehicles out of the way. Like, they're going to be pinned in where they're at.
What's that?
I can't get the freeze frame right, but you see the guy with the rifle right here. He goes to the front of the vehicle as well as he can, and he puts that rifle barrel right to the front of the windshield and is aiming straight down into that guy. This guy right here holding the shield and the pistol.
What's that?
And shields, like, they seem great in theory, and they can work in some applications, but in this scenario right here, who's benefiting from the shield? Just this guy. And he's not even fully benefiting from it either. He only has it covering his torso and his junk. His face is fully exposed. He's aiming over the top of it. He's handling a handgun. We know rifles are better. So he's the only one standing behind a shield. This guy with the rifle's gone to the front. He's not behind the shield. This guy with the tool, he's not behind the shield. So what's this shield doing? How's it helping anyone else? The only person that it's theoretically helping is this guy. He's already got armor on his chest. What's the point? I just don't see the point in carrying that unnecessary weight and being stuck with just a pistol. It would have been way better if person up here with a rifle pointing through the windshield down at him, and this guy had a rifle pointing through the damn car window at him, have two rifles converging on him, and if he decides to become a deadly threat, he's not going to be a deadly threat much longer with rifles that fucking close. If the idea of the shield coming up is to be able to protect your face and stuff, then why not, on top of buying all this other Gucci stuff, just buy the damn mandible armor that attaches to these helmets that you can get, and get the ballistic visor that goes over the top, and put a neck guard on. That would make more sense to me than to try and carry a stupid-ass shield that no one else is going to be behind, and only one person is going to be halfway holding it up properly the way they need to be.
What's that? Check the car first? Check the car first. Check the entire car first. Hey, Doc, hold on 1 second.
So no idea if they tried any other things to get a response out of this guy. I've seen incidents where they fired pepper ball rounds into a car to get some kind of reaction out of someone. I've seen tactics where 40 millimeter projectiles were used to knock out the rest of the glass to be able to see in there a whole lot better. No idea if they attempted any of that. Doesn't look like they did, at least from this side. They may have tried to from the other side. Don't know for sure. I talk about clearing the rest of the vehicle, so unfortunately there could be another person in there. You know, he may not have been the only one in there. It's kind of doubtful from the beginning, the way it sounds. They said that all I know for sure from the video is they observed stuff in the car, and then they went to stand back to surveil it. I don't know if anyone got up there super close and really looked through the front and back of the vehicle to see if anyone was in there or not. If no one got that close to fully inspect it, there could be someone in the back seat. There could have been someone laying on the floorboard sleeping, or whatever. Hell, there could be somebody in the damn trunk of the car. He could have kidnapped somebody. You have no idea. So they're going to be doing their due diligence and clearing the rest of the vehicle, making sure no one else is in this car.
That's a rifle on the passenger side. Check the car.
Are they moving up or what? You guys moving up or what? Alright, his hands are clear, unresponsive. Try the door. Try the door.
Try the door, D. Try the door. Door open. See the door's open.
Come on, man. Alright, his hands are still clear. You see a gun anywhere? Rico to Reveille.
One thing this guy with the rifle could have done is just climb up onto the hood of the car and then actually sight down through the sights of his rifle and put it straight on this dude. Can't tell because of the white light here. He might have a laser activated. I don't know. But if you got visible laser on the rifle, that would be a good use of that visible laser, is to have that thing activated and having it shine through. Now the problem with that, potentially with this windshield, is this windshield could be spiderweb to hell from how many rounds got fired at this guy. And so that light, that laser light going into it, might get refracted and not even be shining on the person very well. But at least, if he could see through the vehicle some, or the windshield some, by being on the hood, he could sight through the iron sights or the optic right there, or the red dot, and put it square on the dude.
He's
On the passenger side.
He's unresponsive. There's a rifle on the passenger side. Do you want us to pull him out, or to have the docs come up and just check him real quick? All right, Doc. Move up. Hey, just continue to hold coverage on him.
Hey, you want us to clear that back seat first before they move up?
Yeah. Clear the back seat. Hey, we'll check the trunk in a minute. Have the doc come up here and check them. We'll check the trunk in a minute.
Hey, don't check it in a minute, D. Get Doc up there.
Am I getting on the radio?
Yes.
Hey, hold lethal coverage on him, Vargas. Can he lean? Does Doc feel comfortable leaning in there and checking him?
You have to pull him out. Pull him out.
He's checking him right now.
He's checking him right now.
Yeah, so this right here, you can't tell from this angle, but it doesn't look like the angle's very good for this dude providing lethal cover. He's not even aiming through the sights of the rifle. Don't even know if he's got a laser activated, and if he does have a laser activated, no idea if he's able to even put that laser on the guy. Their doc is leaning in to check for signs of life to go ahead and pronounce the guy. If that dude's not truly incapacitated, he could become a threat instantaneously, hold on to this guy, and this dude would not be able to do anything. So if he was on the hood of this vehicle, he could very easily shift over closer to the passenger side and still aim down and provide pretty good lethal coverage. This guy who's in the truck, he could just roll down his window, rotate himself in the seat some, point his gun out the window down into this passenger side where this guy's kind of leaning into, and provide the lethal cover that away.
Doc, we can pull him out if you need us to. Does Doc need to pull us out or not?
Hold on, he's asking if he's going to sit him up. Doc's going to sit him up real quick and check.
Hey, Rico to Reveille. I got it. Hey, we got to pull him up, LT, just so you know.
Got coverage over here.
All right, so he did roll the window down a little bit, and it does look kind of thick right here potentially. So this might actually be an up-armored vehicle that's a slick body style. Doesn't look like a police car or anything, but has up-armor capability.
Hey, we got to pull him up, LT, just so you know.
Got coverage over here. Go ahead. Feel his neck, and that's it. And I'm going to leave him where he is. Got it? Feel his neck.
So one thing that this guy could have also done is take his suppressor and just push it in through one of these larger holes. That way, if he does have to shoot, he's not having any glass that he has to deal with. So it from this angle, it looks like it could be possible that he could push suppressor through maybe this hole, and the offset with the sights being sitting higher on the rifle, he would actually be able to see through a more clear spot on this windshield that's not spiderwebbed or chunked up too bad, and still be able to accurately aim the rifle at the guy. So anytime bullets hit windshield, it will deflect them in some way. This close, that may not matter a whole lot, but just know that bullets going through glass, laminate glass, will cause them to deflect.
And that's it. And I'm going to leave him where he is. Alright, I'm calling it. Yeah, he's done. 323.
All right.
Alright.
so he has a PEC 15 mounted to the top. But there's so much bright light, I have no idea if he's actually got the laser turned on or not. All right, not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.